proof!
Hello! I want to show everyone how to make a really big size lasagna. I'm going to be using a roasting pan. It's 15 inches in length, 12 inches wide, and about 3.5 inches deep. Going to need a box of lasagna, the pasta. Normally there's about 20 in there, and you need 20. I don't know, some of them might come in different sizes. This one says 500 grams, but there's 20 in there. You need 20 and that big pan. You might ask why? Why make such a big lasagna? I'll tell you why. Because lasagna, you can freeze it. It freezes perfectly. And I don't know, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this big, huge lasagna. Probably eat maybe half of it. Take several days with the family here. And I'll freeze the other half for lunches and whatnot. First thing to do to get started, use extra lean ground beef. I can't stress that enough. Use extra lean because you don't have a bunch of fat and grease in there. Now, the amount you want to use is around 1.125 kilograms in US or in pounds or whatever. That's about 2.48, 2.5 pounds. But as long as you're close, you can be from 2 pounds to 2.5 pounds. Don't be too concerned about that, but let's get that going. Don't overly cook the meat. Just brown it up. Make sure you take your time. I cook mine on a low heat and I make sure I chop it up nice and fine as I'm going along. So let's get that going and I'll show you how it looks when it's ready. Okay, before I head over to the ground beef that I've been cooking, low heat. It might take me 5-10 minutes, but you know, it all depends on how hot things are. But what we're gonna do before I head over there, I'm just gonna add some ingredients in here just so I don't have to use any more containers. Basically, you want to put in 1 teaspoon. This is called dried oregano. So put that there. And then we want to add 1 teaspoon of pepper, and the final ingredient, 3 teaspoons of garlic powder. And the reason we're going to add this to the beef and let it simmer low heat again, oh, hopefully that was 3. It just infuses the flavor into the beef. You don't really have to worry so much about cooking the beef really good. This is just to brown it up, to break it up, and so it's nice and, I guess, palatable. But anyways, let's go add this in. Okay, here we are, and here's the ground beef. As I said, hopefully you've been doing this as it's been going along, just breaking it up, trying to get it into fine little pieces. And it looks perfect now, so I'm gonna add in the diced tomatoes, including those ingredients, of course, that I put into the can. So let's get that in there. I'm going to add in this is basically the garlic and onion tomato paste. So we'll get this all out of here. Just stir it in, and again, just at this point, you just keep it on low heat, like almost like a simmer. There's no real time limit. Don't rush things. But you know, the beef probably normally would take 5-10 minutes, and on low heat again after adding in these ingredients. If it's on low heat, maybe another 5-10 minutes. So we'll move on to the next step. So don't worry about the time and everything. Just use low heat and you don't have to really worry about anything. Okay, in the meantime, we have a few more things to do, but now is a good time to get a little bit of a water bath going here. Again, I'm using a wood stove, so everything's somewhat low temperature. It's a little bit slower than doing things on your stove. But anyways, that water is pretty near boiling, and we're going to use that to cook the noodles in. Okay, the next step, you want to get your mozzarella cheese ready, and what you need to do, hopefully you have a way of shredding it. I have a machine here that will do that. This is what the mozzarella cheese looks like. And basically it's 457 grams. This block came in, or about 16 ounces. I mean, give or take. Don't worry too much if you're a little plus or minus on that. I'll shred that up and I'll show you what it looks like. There you have it. I have the cheese already and grated. Okay, we're gonna make a fill now. This is how I do it. I have this big bowl here. I'm gonna set that aside. And what I do is I put in this blade. It's just basically a shredder chopper blade. Well, so I have about 2 cups of yellow beans here. And I'm going to chop these up and put them into that bowl. Oh, and you don't want to chop them up super fine. Just sort of chop them up so they're, you know, not in big long pieces. Okay, the beans are all chopped up. There's a little bit of ice in there. They were frozen. But anyways, that's what they look like. They're not like chopped up super fine, but you know, they're just kind of shredded up there. Okay, my next ingredient for my fill, I have my carrots that are from my garden. They're chopped up. It's about 2 cups, just put in there. And I'm gonna do the same thing as what I did with the beans. Okay, that should do it. The next thing I put in here, it's 2 cups of, it's a combination of broccoli and cauliflower. You can use one or the other if you don't have both. But I'm gonna use both. Okay, that looks good. Okay, if you did choose to use broccoli, the reason that I use it, it comes in handy later. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold back some of this. It's not gonna go into my mixture bowl. So I'm gonna save a few handfuls here. So basically a bowl. Save that and set that aside. Just sort of forget about it for now. Put the rest into your mixture. Okay, the last item, I have some corn too. I have this from my garden. It's frozen right now, but just kernel corn. You don't have to chop that up. Just put this into your bowl, your mixture bowl here. Okay, remember the little bowl I set aside? That's gonna be for the final topping. And another thing that I'm gonna add to the topping is a little bit of green pepper, and I'll save this in our I'll call this the topping bowl right here. Okay, so I have my bowl of fill ready here, all that good stuff, all the vegetables in there. What we're gonna do is add some cottage cheese. I have the measurements in there. This is a 750 gram tub of cottage cheese, so put that in. If you're not sure what Parmesan cheese is, it's just it's finely grated, a type of cheese. Some people call it the stinky cheese, but anyways, it's pretty tasty. So 1 cup of that, and we'll put in these 5 eggs. Okay, so basically everything's all ready to go, and what I'm going to do is cook my noodles in sort of 2 batches. I found that if you cook them all at once, if you're not fast enough, they'll end up sticking together and whatnot. So we're doing 20 noodles all together, so I have my 2 batches here. Here's 10. The water's not boiling, doesn't matter, it's near boiling, and we're just going to set those in there. And you don't really have to worry about cooking them too much either. We'll let those soften up for a bit and we'll get started on making our lasagna, putting it together. Okay, as you can see, I have my noodles there, my meat. I'm gonna use some baby spinach topping, my fill, and of course the cheese topping, and I'll put that in a few layers as we go. And all right, let's get started. Start off by putting a little bit of your meat mixture in the bottom of the pan, just a little bit. Just spread that around. Provides a little base for the noodles to sort of rest on top, and that way you won't have any issues with the noodles sticking to the bottom or whatever. Okay, so let's put our first layer of noodles in. Here we go again. They're not overcooked. They're nice and soft. They're flexible. So let's lay those out. There we go. Okay, so 5 noodles. That's your first layer. Now what I'm going to do is actually add a little bit of this spinach here. I'm not sure if you can see, but I'll move this closer. Gonna run them around, fill in some of the gaps between the noodles and the bottom of the pan. Okay, now let's put a layer of our meat and tomato paste mixture. So remember, we're doing 4 layers. So the top layer, before you get to the top layer, you want to have everything used up almost. And now we're just gonna, here's our vegetable mix. Put a thin layer in there. So you're kind of breaking this into like, I guess thirds. You don't want to use it all. You want to use about a third out of here for each layer. Come back to your noodles. Set out another 5 noodles, which will cover the bottom again. And basically all you're doing at this point is just keep repeating. Just keep doing the same thing. Okay, this layer, I like to use a little bit of the mozzarella cheese, maybe about a handful. Probably gonna be a couple handfuls. So there's 1. 2. Try to keep it nice and fluffy, spread it out. It all helps it to bond together so you get a nice firm lasagna if you put a little bit of cheese in between there. Okay, I'm gonna go cook my second batch of noodles and we'll be right back. Whoa, wait a second. While I'm at it, might as well finish this one off here. So I put some more cheese on there. Let's put another layer of some meat and our diced tomatoes and that onion garlic tomato paste that I used. And you know what? I want to use up this spinach, so I'm gonna put a little bit more spinach in here. Everything is optional when it comes to lasagna. Alright, that's looking really good. Okay, so I'm gonna go cook up the remaining noodles and we'll finish this off. Okay, my next batch of noodles, they are ready. What I'm gonna do is add in about half of this can of tomato sauce. It's 680 mils. I think that's around 24 ounces, just to note. So let's go ahead, we'll put in about half of that. And let's go ahead and add our next layer of noodles. Again, I'm going to use up a little bit of my spinach here. A few sprinkles here and there. And we'll go ahead and top this off with our mixture of vegetables, cottage cheese, etc. And here's the grated mozzarella. What I'm going to do now is put a couple more handfuls on here. Let's get the remaining noodles up top here. And I have a little bit of meat left. So sprinkle a little bit of that on. I'm going to add the remaining tomato sauce. You know what? I think I'm going to add just a tiny bit more of tomato sauce. So I think I'm going to use half a can of this, it's tomato and basil. It's very much similar to what I just put on. Just enough to give it a layer here. And this, remember I set aside this bowl here. Let's take a little bit of it. Sprinkle a little bit here. Just basically some broccoli and some of the green pepper. Put a little bit down here. And let's finish off with our cheese. Get a nice topping on it. And in the meantime, well, I have the oven. It doesn't really matter, but I have been heating up the oven. Heat it up to 375. That's a good starting point, and then we'll go from there. And the reason I saved this bowl, it just provides a little bit of color to the top. There we go. And for good measure, put a couple of spinach leaves on here. Oh, the remaining of the this tomato and basil paste that I have, I'm just going to pour it around the edges here, and that just helps transfer the heat around into the lasagna. So it should turn out pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. So let's get that in the oven. Okay, so the first 30 minutes preheated up to 375. So cook it for 30 minutes. I have it in here and it is covered. So 375, 30 minutes covered. After that 30 minutes, uncover it and cook it for another 30, or until it's nice and brown on the top. Okay, as I said, the first 30 minutes you cook it covered. The last 30, I put this in for 40 minutes, and the last 30 to 40 minutes, cook it uncovered. Looks like it's all done. I'm gonna take it out now and let it sit and cool off, probably at least about 30 minutes before you start cutting into that. Okay, good luck.